Day three chat. Let's get it. Reading for 20 minutes until I approve my speech. After I shared my experience, my friend decided to keep a Thanksgiving journal about his wife. Within the first few months, he completely turned around his marriage, choosing to look for and focus on his wife's positive qualities, changed his view of her, which changed how he interacted with her. As a result, she made different choices about the way she responded to him. The cycle perpetuated, or shall we say, compounded. Owning 100%. We are all self-made men and women, but only the successful take credit for it. I was 18 when I was introduced to the idea of personal responsibility at a seminar. The concept completely transformed my life. If you throw out the rest of this book and only practice this one concept, within 2 to 3 years, the changes in your life would be so great. Your friends and family would have difficulty remembering the old you. In that seminar I attended at 18, the speaker asked, "What percentage of shared responsibility do you have in making a relationship work?" I was a teenager, so wise in the ways of true love. Of course I had all the answers. 50-50, I blurted out. It was so obvious. Both people must be willing to share the responsibility evenly or someone's getting ripped off. 51-49, yelled someone, arguing that you'd have to be willing to do more than the other person. Aren't relationships built on self-sacrifice and generosity? 80-20, yelled another. The instructor turned to the easel and wrote 100 to 0 on the paper in big black letters. You have to be willing to give 100% with zero expectation of receiving anything in return, he said. Only when you're willing to take 100% responsibility for making the relationship work will it work. Otherwise, a relationship left to chance will always be vulnerable to disaster. Whoa, this wasn't what I was expecting, but I quickly understood how this concept could transform every area of my life. If I always took 100% responsibility for everything I experienced, completely owning all of my choices and all of the ways I responded to whatever happened to me, I held the power. Everything was up to me. I was responsible for everything I didn't do, or how I responded to what was done to me. I know you think you take responsibility for your life. I've yet to ask anybody who doesn't say, of course I take responsibility for my life. But then you look at most people operate in the world, there's a lot of finger pointing, victimhood, blaming, and expecting someone else or the government to solve their problems. If you've ever blamed traffic for being late, or decided you are in a bad mood because of something your kid, spouse, or coworker did, you're not taking 100% responsibility. You arrived late because the printer was busy. Maybe you shouldn't have waited until the last minute. Coworker messed up the presentation. Shouldn't you have double-checked it yourself before delivering it? Not getting along with your unreasonable team. There are a countless fantastic books and classes to help you learn how to deal. You alone are responsible for what you do or don't do, or how you respond to what's done to you. This empowering mindset revolutionized my life. Luck, circumstances, or the right situation wasn't what mattered. If it was to be, it was up to me. I was free to fly no matter who was elected president, how badly the economy tanked, or what anybody said, did, or didn't do. I was still 100% in control of me. By choosing to be officially liberated from past, present, and future victimhood, I'd hit the jackpot. I had the unlimited power to control my destiny. Getting lucky. Maybe you believe you're simply unlucky, but really that's just another excuse. The only difference between becoming fabulously rich, happy, and healthy versus ending up broke, depressed, and unhealthy are the choices you make. Nothing else will make the difference. Here's the right thing about luck. We're all lucky. If you're on the right side of the dirt, have your health, and a little food in your cupboard, you are incredibly lucky. Everyone has the opportunity to be lucky because beyond having the basics of health and sustenance, can you look that up for me?
Sustenance?
Can I spell it? I got you. Can I do it real quick?
I was on the game. Yeah.
Let me see what this is. I've never heard of this word before. Sustenance. How do you say this? Sustenance. Food and drink regarded as a source of strength, the maintaining of someone or something in life or existence. Okay, thanks. Appreciate you. Beyond having the basics of health and sustenance, luck simply comes down to a series of choices. When I asked Richard Branson if he felt luck played a part in his success, he answered, "Yes, of course. We are all lucky. If you live in a free society, you are lucky. Luck surrounds us every day. We are constantly having lucky things happen to us, whether you recognize it or not. I have not been any more lucky or unlucky than anyone else. The difference is when luck came my way, I took advantage of it. Spoken like a man knighted with wisdom. While we're on the topic, it's my belief that the old adage we often hear, luck is when opportunity meets preparation, isn't enough. I believe there are two other critical components to luck. Preparation. By consistently improving and preparing yourself, your skills, knowledge, expertise, relationships, and resources, you have the wherewithal to take advantage of great opportunities when they arise. When luck strikes, then you can be like Beyonce, who famously said, "I don't like to gamble, but if there's one thing I'm willing to bet on, it's myself." Attitude. This is where luck evades most people and where Sir Richard is spot on with his belief that luck is all around us. It's simply a matter of seeing situations, conversations, and circumstances as fortuitous. You cannot see what you don't look for, and you cannot look for what you don't believe in. Opportunity. It's possible to make your own luck, but the luck I'm talking about here isn't planned for, or it comes faster or differently than expected. In the stage of the formula, luck isn't forced. It's a natural occurrence, and it often shows up seemingly of its own accord. Action. This is where you come in. However, this luck was delivered to you from the universe, God, the Lucky Charms leprechaun, or or whatever you associate delivering your good fortune. It's now your job to act on it. This is what separates the Richard Bransons from the Joseph Wallingtons. Joseph who? Exactly. You've never heard of him. That's because he failed to take action on all of the lucky things that happened to him. So no more whining about the cards you were dealt, the great defeats you were suffered, or any other circumstances. Countless people have more disadvantages and greater obstacles than you, and yet they're wealthier and more fulfilled. Luck is an equal opportunity distributor. Lady Luck shines on all, but rather than having your umbrella overhead, you've got to have your face to the sky. When it comes down to it, it's all about you, baby. There's no other way around it. The high price of tuition. In the early 2000s, I was asked to partner on a new startup venture. I invested a considerable sum of money into the deal and worked tirelessly on it for nearly 2 years before finding out that my partner had mismanaged and squandered all the cash. I lost more than $330,000. I didn't try to sue him. In fact, I lent him more money later for a personal situation. The bottom line was the loss was my fault. I had agreed to be his partner without doing enough due diligence on his background and personal character. During our time in business, I wasn't inspecting what I was expecting. I could justify it by saying I trusted him, but the truth was I was guilty of being lazy by not watching the finances more diligently. Not only had I made the choice to start this relationship in business, but I made the many choices to ignore obvious red flags and warning signs. Because I chose to not be completely responsible for the business, in the end, I was responsible for the results. When I learned of the wrongdoings, I chose not to lose any more time fighting it. Instead, I licked my wounds, learned my lesson, and moved on. In hindsight, I make the same choice to pick up and move on again today. I now challenge you to do the same. No matter what has happened to you, take complete responsibility for it. Good or bad, victory or defeat, own it, my mentor Jim Rohn said. The day you graduate from childhood to adulthood is the day you take full responsibility for your life. Today is graduation day. From this day forward, choose to be 100% responsible for your life. Eliminate all of your excuses. Embrace the fact that you are freed by your choices as long as you assume personal responsibility for them. It's time to make the choice to take control. Your secret weapon, your scorecard. I'm about to walk you through one of the single greatest strategies that I've ever used in my personal development. This strategy helps me take control of the choices I make throughout the day, causing everything else to fall into place and leading to behaviors and actions that shepherd my habits into line like dutiful, loyal minions. Right this moment, pick an area of your life where you most want to be successful. Do you want more money in the bank, a trimmer waistline, the strength to compete in an Ironman event, a better relationship with your spouse or kids? Picture where you are in that area right now. Now picture where you want to be. Richer, thinner, happier, you name it. The first step towards change is awareness. If you want to get from where you are to where you want to be, you have to start by becoming aware of the choices that lead you away from your desired destination. Become very conscious of every choice you make today so you can begin to make smarter choices moving forward. To help you become aware of your choices, I want you to track every action that relates to the area of life you want to improve. If you've decided you want to get out of debt, you're going to track every penny you pull from your pocket. If you've decided you want to lose weight, you're going to track everything you put into your mouth. If you decided to train for an athletic event, you're going to track every step you take, every workout you do. Simply carry around a small notebook, something you'll keep in your pocket or purse at all times, and a writing instrument. You're going to write it all down every day without fail. No excuses, no exceptions. As if Big Brother's watching you. As if my dad and I will come and make you do 100 push-ups every time you miss. Doesn't sound like much, I know. Writing things down on a little piece of paper, but tracking my progress and missteps is one of the reasons I've accumulated the success I have. The progress forces you, dang, it's been 12 minutes already? This book is getting good, chat. The process forces you to be conscious of your decisions, but as Jim Rohn would say, what's simple to do is also simple not to do. The magic is not in the complexity of the task. The magic is in the doing of simple things repeatedly and long enough to ignite the miracle of the compound effect. So beware of neglecting the simple things that make the big things in your life possible. The biggest difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not. Remember that saying. It will come in handy many times throughout life when faced with a difficult, tedious, or tough choice. Money trap. I learned the power of tracking the hard way after I acted like a colossal idiot with my finances. Back in my early 20s, when I was making a lot of money selling real estate, I met with my accountant. You owe well over $100,000 in taxes, he said. What? I said, I don't have that kind of cash just lying around. Why not? He said, you collected several times that. Certainly, you set aside the taxes that would be due on that money. Evidently, I didn't, I said. Where did the money go? He asked. I don't know, I said, a sobering confession for sure. The money had passed through my hands like water and I hadn't even noticed. Then my accountant did me a great favor. Son, he said, look at me dead in the eyes. You've got to get a grip. I've seen this like 100 times before. You're spending money like a drunken fool and you don't even know how to account for it. That's stupid. Stop it. You are now seriously in the hole. You have to earn more money that you'll owe additional taxes on just to pay for your back taxes. Continue this and you'll dig your financial grave with your own wallet. I immediately got the message. Here's what my accountant had me do. Carry a small notepad in my back pocket and write down every single cent I spent for 30 days. Whether it was $1,000 for a new suit or 50 cents for air to fill up my tires, it all had to go down on my notepad. Wow, this brought an instantaneous awareness of the many unconscious choices I was making that resulted in money pouring out of my pockets. Because I had to log everything, I resisted buying some things, and so I didn't have to take out the notebook and write it in the dang book. Keeping a money log for 30 days straight cemented a new awareness in me. It created a completely new set of choices and disciplines surrounding spending. And since awareness and positive behaviors compound, I found myself being more proactive with money in general. Putting away more for retirement, finding areas to save where there was clear waste, and enjoying the fun quotient of money, play money, all the more. When I did consider shelling out for entertainment, I did so only after a long pause. This tracking exercise changed my awareness of how I related to my money. It works so well, in fact, I've used it many times to change other behaviors. Tracking is my go-to transformation model for everything that ails me. Over the years, I've tracked what I eat and drink, how much I exercise, how much time I spend improving a skill, my number of sales calls, even the improvement of my relationships with family, friends, or my spouse. The results have been no less profound than my money track and wake up call. In buying this book, you're basically paying me for my opinion, my guidance. This is where I'm going to become a hard ass and insist you track your behaviors for at least one whole week. This book isn't designed to entertain you. It is designed to help you get results. To get results, you have to take some action. You may have heard about tracking before. In fact, you've probably done your own version of this exercise. But I also bet you aren't doing it now, right? How do I know? Because your life isn't working as successfully as you'd like. You've gotten derailed. Tracking is the way to get it back on track. Do you know how the casinos make so much money in Vegas? Because they track every table, every winner, every hour. Why do Olympic trainers get paid top dollar? Because they track every workout, every calorie, and every micronutrient for their athletes. All winners are trackers. Right now, I want you to track your life with the same intention, to bring your goals within sight. Tracking is a simple exercise. It works because it brings moment-to-moment awareness to the actions you take in the area of your life you want to observe. You'll be surprised at what you will observe about your behavior. You cannot manage or improve something until you measure it. Likewise, you can't make the most of who you are, your talents and resources and capabilities until you are aware of and accountable for your actions. Every professional athlete and his or her coach track each performance down to the smallest minute. Pitchers know their stats on every pitch in their repertoire. Golfers have even more metrics on their swings. Professional athletes know how to adjust their performances based on what they've tracked. They pay attention to what they record and make changes accordingly because they know when their stats improve, they win more games and earn more in endorsement deals. At any given moment, I want you to know exactly how well you're doing. I'm asking you to track yourself as if you're a valuable commodity, because you are. Want that idiot-proof system we talked about earlier? This is it. So regardless of whether you think you're aware of your habits or not, believe me, you're not. I'm asking you to start tracking. Doing so will revolutionize your life and ultimately your lifestyle. Keep it slow and easy. Don't panic. We're starting off with an easy breezy tempo. Just track one habit for 1 week. Pick the habit that has the greatest control over you. That's where you'll start. Once you begin reaping the rewards of the compound effect, you'll naturally want to introduce this practice into other areas of your life. In other words, you'll choose to track. Let's say the category you choose is getting your eating under control because you want to lose weight. Your task is to write down everything you put in your mouth, from the steak, potatoes, and salad you have at dinner to those many tiny choices during the day. That handful of pretzels in the break room, that second slice of cheese on your sandwich, that fun-sized candy bar, that sample at Costco, those extra sips of wine after the host tops off your glass. Don't forget the beverages. They all add up. But unless tracked, they're easy to dismiss or forget because they seem so small. Again, merely writing these things down sounds simple, and it is, but only when you do it. That's why I'm asking that you commit to choosing a category and a start date now before you turn this page.
But wait, why are you reading that
I'm
page
going to
me?
start tracking. What will the tracking look like? It will be thorough, as is organized, and relentless, as in constant. Each day you'll start with the date at the top of a fresh page and start keeping track. What happens after the first week of tracking? You'll probably be in shock. You'll be astonished at how those calories, those pennies or minutes have been escaping you. You never even knew that they were there, let alone that they vanished. Now keep going. You're going to track in this one area for 3 weeks. Maybe you're already grown in. You don't want to do it, but trust me, you'll be so blown away by the results that after 1 week, you'll sign yourself up for another. I can practically guarantee it. Why 3 weeks? You've heard psychologists say something doesn't become a habit until you practice it for 3 weeks. It's not an exact science, but it's a good benchmark and it has worked for me. So ideally, I want you to stick with your choice to track your behaviors for 21 days. If you refuse, I'm not going to lose anything. Heck, it's not my waistline, cardiovascular health, bank balance, or relationships you're messing with. But seriously, you're reading this book because you want to change your life, right? I promise you it's going to take slow, steady work, didn't I? This one action isn't easy, but it's simple and doable. So do it. Promise yourself to start today for the next 3 weeks. Choose to carry around your own small notepad, or a large one if that's more enticing, and write every single thing down in your category. What happens in 3 weeks? You move from the shock that follows the first week to the happy surprise of seeing how merely becoming conscious of your actions began to shape them. You'll find yourself asking, do I really want that candy bar? I'm going to have to haul out my notepad and write it down. And I feel a little sheepish. That's 200 calories saved right there. Turn down that candy bar every day. In a little more than 2 weeks, you'll have already lost a pound. You'll start adding up that $4 coffee on the way to work and realize, holy cow, I just spent $60 on coffee in 3 weeks. Hey, that's $1,000 a year. Or compounded, that's $51,833.79 in 20 years. How much do you really need to stop for coffee? Come again? Am I saying that your $4 a day coffee habit is going to cost you $51,833.79 in 20 years? Yes, I am. Did you know that every dollar you spend today, no matter what you spend it, is going to cost you nearly $5 in only 20 years and $10 in 30 years? That's because if you took $1 and grew it at 8%, in 20 years that dollar would be worth almost $5. Every time you spend $1 today, it's like taking $5 out of your future pocket. I used to make the same mistake of looking at a price tag and thinking that if an item was listed at $50, it cost me $50. Well, yes, in today's dollars, but if you consider the potential value of that same $50 after it has been invested for 20 years, the cost what you lose by spending that money rather than using it to grow is 4 or 5 times greater. In other words, every time you look at an item that costs $50, you have to ask, is this item worth $250? If it's worth $250 to you today, then it's worth buying. Dang, chat. Book was going too good. We ran over the time. 22 minutes.
What are y'all doing?
None.
I was reading.
On your business, motherfucker.
What happened to that bed?
Oh, it's broke. You want my